B-flat major prelude. I'm singling this out because it's another one of those pieces that seem lightweight in terms of its pretensions. It's basically a little bubbling toccata. But I think it's a tremendous example of repetition, how repetition can be used on lots of different levels. So there's a lot of repetition in this piece, but each kind of repetition has its own way of repeating, and by that nature also suggests a certain kind of function for it. So the beginning of the piece it's your little Joel St. Nicholas, or the Pachelbel canon or something, which repeats down the third. This repetition is moved a notch in the, 2 notches in the key, but without any changes in the key signature, so that the chords are always a little different. This time it's a minor, and then you move 1 notch down, and you're back to the majors again. So there's wonderful stuff that happens when you use this kind of diatonic sequencing, and that's sort of just how to get the piece started. Now a different kind of repetition happens. You see this aqua material answered by orange, and aqua answered by orange. This time it's up a step. And then 1 more step up for the aqua, but the orange doesn't go along. So it's one of these things where the repetition is setting up a cycle, first of all, because it's sequencing through different keys. It's not like the first thing at all, which sort of just stayed in your main key of B-flat major, but it's moving you from B-flat major to G minor, to C major, to A minor, to D minor. So you're going through different keys with this, but it's also setting up this certain kind of expectation, A followed by B, A followed by B, A followed by, whoops, not B anymore. And that makes this material, when it comes in, have a much stronger impact because it's the wrong answer to what has been the question. Of recognition, definition, and that's what makes these little things so important in the whole psychology of how a piece is put together. And when you're hearing this, it builds up this sort of tension, because how long can you keep repeating it? Saint-Saëns all of a sudden. Not to say Saint-Saëns is a bad composer, but this is just minor scales. There's the ascending, which uses the high 6 and 7, and there's the descending, which uses the low 6 and 7. Although you can go either way. You can use the ascending to go down, and you can use the ascending to go up. But again, the fertility of Bach's mind is just, I think it's an instinct that creative geniuses practice and develop, that you always look at something, not just the first way it comes, or not just one way of doing it, but to try to find different ways of doing it. So the question is, I've got to write a C minor scale here. I'm going to end down here. This is the lowest note of my keyboard. This is going to be a great moment. So I'll just go ahead and write a descending melodic minor scale. But Bach said, I've got some choices to make here. So I'm not going to just do the one way to do it. I'm going to start out and use, in the middle, the descending melodic, the flats, B flat and A flat. But when I'm getting close to the bottom, and I want to make it sound like it's ending, I'm going to use ascending melodic. So you get this wonderful sense. It flies by so fast, who can really hear it? But it makes a real big difference, because you're hearing that note, and you're hearing this note. And you're also getting this extra flash of color. You know something's afoot. You have the feeling that the music has this kind of extra level of depth that's created just by recognizing that there are some options to be selected, and choosing both of them in a way that forwards whatever the impetus of the moment should be. This one little thing that colors this entire page, the purple stuff, is Bach borrowing a very flat note from the minor key. So here we find that so we would think that if you look on a circle of fifths, that's my spectrum of fifths. If you're thinking about this is the key of E flat major, uses these notes. If you keep getting flatter, eventually you find something in G flat that's very far away from the notes we've been using in this piece. But while I've got this in front of you, I want you to notice one more thing. There's actually even a darker note than the G flat, and that's the C flat.